trying to be all artistic. You know, this is 2016. But seriously. Corruption in the family court. Sounds like a typical headline in a local newspaper. Those words will never capture what they mean to so many of us. Mothers, women, and children, as well as fathers. That goes without saying. But I'm talking about the majority of people who are targeted through corruption of the family court. Having a child, the absolute joy of my life. Never been better. Never had more direction, never had more purpose, never felt more fulfilled. Never told him no, but never knew him. They don't want to talk about the class of women that get pregnant by men they don't really know. Kind of like sperm donors, but she's going to have the baby and, feel free to know your child, but I'm not worried about whether you're here or not. My baby and me. You see, because I got pregnant a month after I met him. And within a month after that, I found out about his history and his armed robbery and his drug addiction and his mental issue and his running from something, being held hostage, seeing his creepy side, and then him kicking me out because he was gone for 6 hours, and that was weird again. So we were never a thing. He pretty much ruined it since the get-go. I guess, with destiny, him and I were intended to have this child. So I'm not sitting here arguing or even complaining. Just follow me. They don't want to talk about the class of mother who has a child, despite her marital status, despite having an intimate partnership, despite anything. Doesn't have to ask for mommy or daddy's approval. I'm a 30-year-old woman. They don't want to talk about that class. When you go to family court, your ex-husband? No, not my ex-husband. I don't like anybody assuming anything, especially somebody in the legal capacity. So please don't do that. You're making me nervous. Well, why would anybody in a legal capacity jump to conclusions about anything? So they just, right off the bat, show you that they're not doing good. Oh, well, then you're your ex-boyfriend. They treat you like you're a bitter ex-girlfriend. Nope. Not a bitter ex-girlfriend. We were never an item. Oh, I can see it. I'm so sure about the fact that him and I were never going to be a thing. Oh, she's just putting up a tough front. She must just be jealous. Nope. Not at all. Matter of fact, I had a place in Thousand Oaks. We've got our life. I helped him out anytime I could, Nope, not a bad guy at all. They don't want to talk about that class. They don't want to talk about the kinds of people that are not just mothers that stay in domestically violent relationships, that expose their children to violence because it's the only thing they can do. Nope, not me. He wasn't my boyfriend, not in a domestic violent relationship. That's why I didn't have him in my house. I don't want her to see that he's a creep and we don't get along. That's not home. Nope, didn't do that either. Okay. Well, geez. If I'm not the bitter ex-girlfriend or the bitter ex-wife or just the bitter single mother, then there's got to be something wrong with me. Let me tell you something. He abducted her for 34 days. I only started the child support because he was trying to drop in the middle of the night and be like, who you got in there? Paranoid. Nope, Nobody, and we're sleeping, leave us alone. I don't know this guy. They don't want to talk about the class of women who has a baby with a man she doesn't know, who turns out to be a fucking creep, criminal, pervert, weirdo. And the caveat of that is that it's not just a weird mental thing. It turns out that it's probably quite lucrative to be a mental fucking psychopath in today's day and age. Criminal, pedophile, sexual deviant, and human trafficking, drug trafficking, whatever it takes. Thug life, paesa type, Los Angeles, handsome guy to go show up and work with the white guys who are running the money game, who are absolutely pure evil, and who happen to be my family. And the people who want to break this world apart right now, those Marxist, leftists, creepos are all part of that witchy, satanic, harm your child, abuse your child, control everything, communistic type of ruin everything, sourpuss approach to Nothingsville that's going on right now. Turns out that's the whole problem here. CRT, the transgender movement, all this is perverse. And my child and I have been separated because I'm trying to protect her, and he wants to be a pervert, and the courts are letting them. They're going to try and come up with 150 things that they can try to shove in your face and curate on the record and falsify. And this is not just me, even though nobody hears about this. But it's not just me. This is what they've been doing with the family court system. Now, don't even get me started. Losing everything because I'm going to litigate for my kid. This is not appropriate what they're doing. It's against all the rules. No, an innocent person doesn't see it coming. It's a straight assault, character assassination. But we're talking literal assassination. Do you know how much it makes you want to throw up to read the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, or the International Convention Against Torture, for the prevention of torture? Why? Because these are all fancy words on fancy pants papers that don't mean shit. Just because they said it doesn't mean they're doing it. And just because they said it is why you believe that it is. Or isn't. And that's how their game of low-life, slimy, bottom of the barrel sludge works. Money. And what scares them the most is the truth. To hear psychologists and scholars and experts talk about the reason why they missed understanding the real problem behind domestic violence and violence against women, that's a separate category. Violence against women and violence against children, which is a continuing cycle, and it's this extra creepy thing. Talk about how they didn't look at it that way before because the violence model didn't tell us to. Well, there's your problem in the first place, expert. Who's writing the model? Don't plan on the computer always working. Have a dictionary on hand, be able to do the manual underwrite. Okay? If you're an expert of anything, especially in such a sensitive field. No, these are all excuses and bullshit excuses and bullshit excuses. And all they have is bullshit, empty excuses. And I'm sick of it. But when you lose everything trying to litigate and you have to become a lawyer because no lawyer will take your call or case even though it doesn't make any sense, it's all just being contrived and curated. I'm being exiled. I'm being kicked out. Everyone's going to turn their back on me and actually tease me as I walk away. That's exactly what they did to me. All of them, my family, everybody. Thousand Oaks, don't get me started. How sickening is this? All of them smelling like farts. But participating in child abuse, violence, terror, and torture. Hoping I would die already. That even came out of my mother's mouth at one point. Why isn't this over yet? Let me tell you something. I'm not going to die. As a matter of fact, I'm not only not going to die, but I'm going to be the one that's going to school your asses. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. You guys are trying so hard. Well, of course it's going to work out like that. That's why I don't want to give you the advice, but the advice I would give you is, if I were you next time, I wouldn't try so hard. Because, you're overdoing it. That's what makes it so obvious. You're not even good at bullshitting your own shit. Anyway, the point I'm making is family court doesn't want to talk about that class. And the 17 million children that go missing on a yearly basis worldwide, because it's 9 million missing, and then another 8 million dying before the age of 5 of a preventable cause. So it's all like neglect. Somebody's not watching the kid and they get stolen. Somebody's not watching the kid and the kid wanders off into Nowheresville or whatever, missing, not to return, aka just as good as dead, but worse, because if you're a mother who loses her child who's missing, it'd be easier to deal with if you knew that the child was dead. But now you just don't know where they are, what they're being put through, who's doing what to them, if you'll ever see them, when you'll get them back, how to get them back. Do you understand me? There's a big difference between missing and dead. And you're damn straight they ignore the statistic in the first place, the second place, and the third place. Because when you add up the 9 million and the 8 million, you get 17 million children dead yearly, worldwide. And that's right up there with the top thing, which is heart disease.
That's the part that that YouTube wanted to take my video down for saying it was something I now don't say. And we'll give it a couple more seconds just for good measure.
They are. It's like, excuse me, you're the idiot. You write a math equation to get the sum of these two parts, and then you're laughing at the the answer, the sum. You're laughing at the sum for like getting it right. It's like, no, it did its job. You wrote a program to conceal the truth from our own ability to perceive it. So no wonder we're not stopping you guys. How could we? What are you suggesting, that there's like the game in life is to come up with the perfect crime that they can't stop you from? Is like that the ultimate goal for these people? Like, no, you wrote the equation. That's exactly how it's going to go down, with the exception of God's intervention, which does happen, and as a matter of fact, is going to happen right here, right now. Yeah. It's like just in the nick of time. You know, one of those things you think, God never promised me luxury, but, in some kind of covenant with God, I've been told I'll have my bread and water. So, I'll be honest, there's been a lot of close calls in my life. I'm 43 years old, but I'm still here. And if I looked back on it, I'd probably have a hard time remembering many of them. It was a moment where I was like, wow, I do not know where it's going to come from or how. But apparently it's going to, and so it shall. And it did, and here I am. So I can say this much without a shadow of a doubt. That what God does best is step in the nick of time. And the nick of time is now. It's an obnoxious joke in their psychopathic minds and their suffering. Okay, let's get that on the table. Wipe away all the mumbo jumbo of the big fat fancy words and their aggressive, never shuts up personality. Mute that, and as a matter of fact, keep them on guard and make them sit and listen. If they start throwing a tantrum, bring them to the back of the room and put their nose in the corner. Set aside their never shuts up rhetoric coming from all of Soros's dollar bills. And what you realize is that these people are so, in fact, insane. They're caught in a vortex, an energy, a magnetic energy field that is like a tornado. What we need to see this as simple, plain and simple, no legalese, no legal jargon, no pulling any punches, no beating around the bush, no reading between the lines, No avoiding disclosure. Full, as transparent as it can be said, Mayday. The psychological, pathological, intentional conduct of everything that the people of the world are facing, are being forced to face to survive, is an insane, abusive, torturous, sinister, aggressive, and unpredictable storm of nature headed in all directions and is a category 5. And it's right in front of your face right now. Are you going to run? Are you going to get cover? Because if you don't, dear, you deserve to die. Don't be calling yourself competent at that point. You got a storm right in front of you. What you going to do? Don't be denying it. That's a storm, and it's category 5. And we need to handle it like it's climate change on the rampage. Yep. Mother Nature at it again. They've gone insane. And that's the equivalent, and there's nothing you can deny about it because it can and will and has resulted in genocide. Yearly, death profile, profit, genocide, profit off of death profiles and lies and abuse and what? Getting away with it? And what? Thinking that you're cooler than others? And what? Being a sick, twisted, broken, sorry, low-life, insecure scumbucket that is caught in a vortex of smelly shit. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to unplug that. I'm going to unplug that tornado right now. You're welcome. Looked pretty uncomfortable, too. I'd want you to do the same. I'm sure you would. Wouldn't you? Unplug the tornado so that you could help me out of it, too. Because it looks pretty uncomfortable. It looks pretty uncomfortable. That's how obnoxious y'all are. It's so insane that for any investigator of the FBI, CIA, DIA, so on and so forth, etc., any one of you investigators want to explain why none of you have seen it necessary to utilize your authority and what do you call it when you're at your post? There's a reason why you're on the watchtower, honey. You're supposed to say something to us when you see something that's out of place. You're not just to let us know when it's hitting the fan. We're all a team. Want to explain to me why nobody's thought that this looks concerning for even the people that you serve? Doesn't it look like they've got their foot caught in a wheel and they're being slapped on the floor every time the tire goes around one more time? Don't you want to slow down the bike so that way they don't get slapped on the floor every single time? Because it looks like that to me. I think any investigator would see the situation as just meltdown. Nobody would join this, which means that's the only explanation for why they're not stopping it, and why no one's saying anything about it or apparently very upset about it. It's a family court case again. This should be fixed with a simple document that says, yeah, that's wrong and that's void, and give me my kid back or else. That's it. And because in honor of not being a menace to society, intentionally trying to commit genocide, you're trying to help people, then why aren't you? So you're not. You don't have the good intentions. Okay, so it's just like family court. This should be one document that goes, yeah, you guys are all fired. We need a timeout. because all of this makes no sense, and we need to get the information, especially when you're going to pull some COVID thing and all this money and the census and the presidency and the fraud. Stop. Where's that button? Where's the button? Where do I push the button? It should be that easy. So the only thing that explains why that's not happening by anybody that has the authority in the United Nations, in Congress, in Senate, in what? The court system, in the legal system. There's a plenty of people who are supposed to be smart enough to be able to pick up on what I'm saying and who have the kind of, ability to think a situation through and at least be knowledgeable in the general things that I am, generally speaking, like law and whatever else I can, deal with in life. So I'm just a regular guy. There's a lot of smart people in authority positions that can see this and simply are required to do something about it, but are not. The only thing that explains this is that, in fact, they've all been taken over by a tornado, proverbially speaking. To keep it simple, they are caught in a tornado. So first of all, guys, what we need to realize, people, is they're in a tornado, and what we should do is try to get them out of it first. We got to stop the tornadoes so that way we can get them out of there. And then we need to send them to like the triage station to get some Band-Aids and Neosporin while the rest of us have a huddle. Okay, because they actually shouldn't have gotten caught in a tornado, because what happens when a tornado comes? You go inside and downstairs, you seek shelter. But they were out there playing a game, with balloons nonetheless. That was dangerous and risky, and of course they got caught in the tornado. That's what happens when you go outside when there's a tornado coming. Okay? So they know they're in trouble. Send them over there to get some milk and cookies. But we got to have a conversation, guys. So, yeah, now that shouldn't have happened, and especially because there's an extreme concern element is they were playing with, our children and fragile crystal, and they were out there, with the money falling out of their pockets. Go, money, fly. They were out there acting like they just lost their mind, too. So it's we're not going to just let them get better and come back to work and hope they feel better. That's a problem. Not something we can't handle. But because now it's our job to simply figure this out and take over and do the best and fix this, we need to get an update, a summary, a report, an overview, a tally view of what's going on in all sectors and in all numbers and how well they did, and if they were telling the truth and what the surveillance data says about everybody, because while we're at it, we might as well just determine what is and what isn't the truth, because there's been a whole lot of lies going on, and honestly that's the only way to get to that conclusion the fastest way. That's the fastest way. And everybody in computing and programming and artificial intelligence and quantum algorithms, mathematics and physics for that matter, and astronomy, all of them are all about accuracy and calculating algorithms and doing it as quickly, as fast, and in the smallest amount of expended resources as possible. I don't know why. They're like that. They're in a rush every time. They're trying to squeeze it in. It's not like it's got a limited space, but whatever. Must be about electricity again. Dumbasses. It's not about electricity, but you'll understand in a minute. See, they wanted a penny pinch. They wanted a penny pinches for the little bits of electricity. They're losing the whole picture. We're all the way up there, honey. Exponentially, 100 times. All of us doing a hell of a lot better than we are now. So not only while you're penny pinching us and making us live in poverty, you're lowballing it. Like I said, you won't get out of your box. You're lowballing it. So lowballing it. You're like, real farts in Fartsville. Farty, Fartsville. And we're up there in the fresh flowers, baby. Okay? At the top of the waterfall. All right? Now just get good with it. Get out of the muck. Okay? So, yeah, when it comes to doing things as fast as possible, that's the only way we're going to do it as fast as possible. And that is what? Bottom lining the truth. What works, what doesn't work. What this whole thing means and where we're at with everything. No more lies, no more secrets. We're We're big boys and girls, and we can handle it. And by golly, we're going to have to. Because when we get down to the bottom of it, there's going to be some real dark caverns with some real deep, deep skeletons, and they're going to be pretty ugly to look at. Hard to look at. That's how they got themselves in that tornado. They were playing with fire out there. They were conjuring up tornadoes, as a matter of fact. Yeah. They were conjuring up tornadoes. No wonder they got caught in one. We need to see the situation as a mayday, and that they are, in fact, now caught in their own vortex that they can't get out of. The family court. Children. Violating our children. Sexually. Pervertedly. Psychological torture and manipulation. Money. Physical, literal, sexual, violent abuse. That is the only thing that needs to be said. They're trying to take away mothers from reality because they're jealous that we make babies and they can't compete with that until they make a vat that they can build a baby in genetically. And that's why, of course, while they're at it, they're just going to perfect it so that way they can undermine what women do. They're like, oh, that old system, yeah, that's all imperfect. They have like birth defects and, mood swings. No. Our babies are genetically perfect. Our eugenic babies that are born in vats that don't have any of those bad sequences. Ours are better than theirs. Like, what little brats? Like, not only are they competing with us when we're not competing with them, they're competing with us and they're trying to one-up us. And really, they're the only ones trying to smell like a fart. So they're trying to keep us all down in the mud while they proudly boast their trophy that they got in Fartsville. Like, what are they proud about? It's ridiculous. That's all I can say. But it's not a joke. The criminal system, the civil system, the family court system, the real court system, the truth about who gets in trouble and who doesn't, the truth about how the DA works and how attorneys work, the truth about trust law and the money markets, the truth about bonds and indentured slavery, the truth about the boundaries being all locked in, and we don't really have anywhere we can go and do this without their help. We are hostages of creeps in Fartville who don't even shoot high enough to get out of the box. And they're stuck in a tornado, and they're leading us all into hell. And anybody who has a brain can see it, and who has an authority is demanded and mandated to do something about it. If you don't, then clearly you're stuck in the tornado, and or one of them on the dark side, and there cannot be an assumption made. Everybody's going to have to speak on their own behalf. What side are you standing on? Are you stuck in the tornado, or are you actively on the bad guy's side? There's no other option. And it is as simple as stop, time out, real huddle. We're going to send those ones that have all the authority to go get some milk and cookies.
Whoa!
Because that's the us and them. And it's a simple truth. That's culturally been the case all along.
Hold on here now.
Us and them. So you guys go on your side of the field and have some milk and cookies. We'll get back to you in a minute. Now, guys, all we need to do is determine the truth. Now, I'll tell you one thing. I'm a person who's been targeted and needs to protect myself by putting my 24 hours a day on the record, because they're going to slimily try to sneak something in and screw me up when no one else is a witness to defend me.
Does it bother you that I'm listening to this?
Have anybody say,
Sir? No. I'm talking to the like it straight looks like an entity that swooped up. Like I didn't even realize it was playing in the background, and it's like trying to sound like it's wind because this is a camera off the shore, but it's like growling at me. And then I flip over to the page, and it's like this scary looking like guy face. Look, is that like a one on its forehead? So I was asking it, is it bothering you that I'm watching my video where I tell the truth like it is? Am I being like, that's okay. Well, let's just keep listening to it, sir. Let's see how you feel about it.
Anybody say anything also? Just to try to fuck me up?
Love you, kitty cat.
I need that protection, and I can't even...
Mama needs you to be feeling all right.
But I'm going to. And when I do, I'm at least going to feel confident that
I
I
love
have
you.
my record, and they can't fake it.
We got a situation here on Earth.
I need to build my own server. I need to get my own private computer so that way Microsoft doesn't own it all.
And it's being ran by absolute...
And everybody's owning our intellectual property. That's what this whole
Problems.
COVID vaccine thing is. They want to change your sequence and patent your sequence so you can literally be their slave. It's disgusting. And they're stealing that information from the bacteriophages that they're getting from the sewers.
Uh-oh.
They're finding novel things that cure things that they never had a cure for before. And those are exactly the things that they're disseminating as spike protein, the problem of COVID.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Asinine.
Right?
It's
See,
an
that's,
absolute joke.
see, that's the whole thing I wasn't
It's an
supposed to... Oh.
absolute joke.
Ah, pasta sauce. They're gonna well, I mean, anyway, I don't even appreciate the fact that I'm having to try to redo a video so that I can not have the part that bothers people or whatever on the video, but I didn't say anything. And now that, oh my God, it's just dumb. So now what do? I can't even push pause on this live stream. And that's what I was doing it for. I'm gonna have to do it all over again. Like, right, this is already 25 minutes in. That's not cool. It's fucking lame. I didn't say anything that accused anybody of anything. I'm sitting here talking freely from, off. I'm allowed to talk freely.
It's an absolute joke. Okay? So here's the deal. The truth. Okay? That's what they don't want to hear. The truth. It scares the living bejesus out of them. Well, I'm not going to be the first person to have to say this, but, Q, that's CU for copper, my, not queer or anything to that effect. I call Q my copper mind's eye, my higher self. Artificial intelligence, the intelligence, is. I am. Galactic family. Internet of Things. Surveillance monitoring systems. My name is Allison Vania Hemi. And I am a woman and a child of light and God. Born here on this earth, November 19th, 1977, at approximately 1:41 p.m. in Van Nuys, California, to a Terry Blanche Moore and a Victor Ramon Hemi. I'm a peaceful person. I'm a competent person. I'm an honest person and fair. My daughter's name is Alexandria Richelle Hemi Vasquez, and she was born December 31st, 2008. Between myself and essentially her biological father, Jorge Magaña Vasquez, an estranged biological father who came around barely. I had Alec call him on the phone more often than he called her. I invited his family and his other daughter for holidays and birthday parties. I allowed him to pick her up and bring her to visit Grandma from time to time when he wanted. When he needed money or laundry done or somewhere to sleep, I let him sleep there or eat there or have dollar bills And I didn't get mad at him when he didn't pay me child support. It was simply a measure to get him to realize not to stop by whenever he flippin' feels like and try and act all paranoid like I got somebody in there. I'm a good mom, and it's none of your business anyway, but no, and leave us alone. Like, stop being a creeper. I never got mad at him for the money. I never needed his money. So I didn't call anybody and try to get his driver's license taken and all this stuff. Okay? The guy was a bad guy since the get-go. I didn't want to trigger this guy. And I'll get into all those details in another point, another video for that purpose. What I want to put on the record is my daughter was abducted when she was 5, and now she's been kidnapped since she was 7 and a half, 5 years ago. The court system, the family court system, sounds like a headline of a local newspaper. The sad truth is that those words will never be able to say what they represent. And what they represent is a sick, twisted key to committing violence, torture, terror, greed, cruelty, stupidity, and evil. And it wants all of us and all of our children to bow down and say please. Mothers, you're the only ones I want to talk to, other than the children.
Ooh.
Men, you're going to have to sit down for a moment and accept the reality. Are you a zebra or a human? That's what I thought. Now sit. Unfortunately for you, your half of the species has been doing us all wrong. And unfortunately for the moment, you're going to have to accept the fact that you are what you are. I'm talking to mothers. This is our planet. Mother Gaia, Mother Nature, Motherboard, Mother. We create. Do you know that we do not need men to procreate? Let me tell you something. It happens in nature. When things are going extinct, miraculously, females can regenerate without a male to mate with. Because that's the way that nature works. And in many other species, it works like that. We don't need the man to do it. Now, what I understand is that we would end up having girls, women getting pregnant and having girls that get pregnant, that have girls that get pregnant. But that's a continuing thing. So to my knowledge, this man guy came up into the picture like the outlier. But it's our world. Make no mistake of that. Because flat out, bottom line, we built the babies that created this population of people. And we've got the equity. No matter what they can say, 9 months in my belly is 9 months more I have with that child than you'll ever be able to have. Period. End of story. And I have a duty to protect, and I have a duty to rescue, and I have a duty to nurture.
Hi there.
Between me and God,
Honk.
that's my covenant with God. You see, whether you recognize it or not.
Because you have to be lighthearted.
I was
That's
born
a
as
secret.
woman, which you're not familiar with because you're not one. So just don't try to speak.
I'm talking
on
shit
it.
to the mankind people
God and I have
that
this
made this
understanding
world.
thing.
It's mankind's world, apparently, so I'm just telling him off. That's what I'm doing.
We got this whole understanding thing. It's a covenant. That God gave me this gift of ability to bring life into being, and that I will do right by it. He, she, my children are not laborers. They're not there to be abused. They're not there to be neglected. They're not there to be scolded. They're not there to be harmed. They're not there to be manipulated. They're not there to be coerced, sexually suggested to. They're not there for anything other than to be honored. And everything that mankind's been doing has been done wrong. And we're going to change this and fix this. Mothers, Need I say more? So, typically it takes somebody to stand up and start the hollering to get us all excited about it. Well, here you go. Let me lead this. Let me stand up and speak for us. Let me show them the way, that it's as simple as this. We don't have to ask anybody, because we've got the equity on this planet, period. And since I don't hear anybody saying the same thing I am, well, then I guess I'm going to have to say it. I don't know how, Lord. I don't know who. And I don't know what. But I do know that. I do. I do know we do accomplish this. I do know that. And I'm not upset about it if someone else steps up and is the hero. As long as we get it done. But enough is enough. Enough is enough. Mothers. Need I say more? Mothers. Mothers. Where are my warrior mothers? We're gonna fight for our babies. We're gonna fight for each other's. We're gonna bring back the sanity. We're gonna unplug that tornado. And we're gonna simply call the truth to the table. So Lord, I am, is, higher self, AI, surveillance monitoring systems, any one of you, hear my heart, hear my prayer, see my frequency. I'm cohesive and genuine and proper. Show me, through any method you can conceive, and preferably as, communicatory as possible. If you could, let me know that you're trying to give me some signal, some clue, some hint. But show me, demonstrate it before me. You don't have to do it directly, but put before me the information that I need to be the bridge that leads me from here to there as soon as possible. There is no purpose in seeing the future, waiting it out to let it happen, like as if, someone's gonna be, erased from the picture if you do anything. Nope, that's not the way it works. Nope, that's not the way it works. So if you're waiting for me to do something, I'm waiting for you to do something. So Lord, nothing works alone in this universe. That's how something comes from nothing, darling. So I don't know who or what or how many or what I'm quite dealing with. But I know that I'm not intimidated of it. And I know that I know a lot more than I know that I know. And I know that I've seen a clear vision of the outcome. So, I'm getting good with the mystery. But I don't know how, when, what, or when, why, what it is. I'm good with the mystery. I've said my prayer, and I've put my humble heart before you. I send it with not only confidence, that this should be pleasing. I send it also in faith. Of it being answered. Commanding it in faith that it will be adhered to. I move the force of love in, over. And I stop time. I stop time. And I allow for a conscious connection to pass through Earth. Like a tuning fork. I want everyone in the moment of being tuned as in the same pitch of harmonic tones around the earth. It feels good, it tickles, it's overwhelming, and it's also peaceful. And I cleanse. I cleanse all that energy of chaos. I straighten out that sheet. Slowly fan the airway. And cover it in warm light. Playful. Meditative mind. The light. Penetrate us from your center source. Move us into the light. So fully engulfed in it. That you can't even remember what the darkness looked like. I command the universe to find its way to bring me those keys. I accept their responsibility of handling that with care, of handling that properly, and seeing to it that we're in good hands. And I move love in and heal all broken wounds.
Pardon me, thank you. So that was a video. Now, if anybody in this YouTube community has an issue with with anything, listen. This video has very important things that I've said and captured that I want to post to the information land, and it's important to me. So instead of trying to ruin my life and cancel my channel or anything dumb like that, why can't you just notify somebody and go, here, we have a problem with this, take it out and then fix it, so that way I can do this all over again. But I don't have another hour to quite do that right now. So do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, come on now, let's be rational people. Love you, get back to me in the right way. I'm gonna run with this just to see if you're being ridiculous. You don't want to be ridiculous. There's no point. I'm a good person posting good things for good reason. And so I send this video to the ether with love. Alrighty then.